This video shows you how to use Train Sim World 2 to design your next model rail project. I'm concentrating on an exhibition layout, but you can use the same principles and techniques for static layouts at home. This is part one of a multi-part series showing you how to design your next model railway exhibition layout with the help of Train Sim World 2, a train simulator from Dovetail Games. I've chosen a route between Aachen and Köln called Schnellfahrstrecke Cologne, which is one of the routes supplied when you purchase Train Sim World 2 for the PC, Xbox or PlayStation. If you're intending to run the simulator on a PC, I would recommend that you install the Steam Games portal that manages payment, download, installation and upgrades. Train Sim World 2 costs £24.99 in the UK and occupies 20 gigabytes of disk space, so make sure that you have enough space to install the program. The route I've chosen covers the 70 kilometers between Aachen and Cologne in Germany and has high-speed intercity ICE trains together with local stopping trains. Before you start to plan your layout, the most important thing you can do is check that there are manufacturers who make the rolling stock that you plan to run on the layout. In the case of the Schnellfahrstrecke, all the stock is of German origin. Initially I want to look at the ICE train, the BR406. This potentially has an issue for sourcing. I've done a bit of research and I know you can get the ICE 3M from Arnold. That's supplied in N-gauge. So that now sets the scene really for the rest of the stock that you want to run on the railway. Next up is the Talent 2. That can be sourced again in N-gauge. The BR185, that can be sourced in N-gauge. The BR146.2 can be sourced in N-gauge. And the 7662 can also be sourced in N-gauge. These locos can be sourced from a variety of manufacturers such as Pico, Fleischmann and Trix. Now there is also another train that runs on this particular line which is not actually included in the simulation, and that's the Thalys 4 PBKA, and that's based on the TGV and runs out of Paris through to Berlin, but is actually timetabled to run on these tracks. So although it's not seen in the simulation here, you could actually run it as a model on the track that you create. The location I've chosen to model in N-gauge is Düren Station, and apologies for any pronunciation if you haven't got that right. It lies roughly about halfway between Aachen, which is over here on the left hand side of the map, and Köln, which is over here on the right hand side. And this is a busy high-speed track along with commuter traffic. We're in the cab at the moment of a 446 Talent 2, which really doesn't give us much idea of what the station it looks like. So to give me a better view of the station, I'm going to press the number 8 key on the keyboard, and that gives me now an external free camera that I can now move around. So now that we've moved back a little bit, you'll see that the station is quite attractive and is something really that I would like to model. It also has a number of features which I think are going to be quite useful for modeling and make it of more interest. So I'm going to move the camera over to the right. Look what I find. There is an old turntable that is set up as a feature in the middle of the platform. So from a modeling perspective, this lends itself to a whole host of different things that you can actually show. So let's move on up to the other view of the station so that I can get an idea of which side I actually want to set the model from. So this is what I would call the back side of the station, and you'll see now the turntable from a different location. This for me isn't really the best view. If I'm modeling this particular station, I wouldn't choose this as my ideal viewing point. If you choose your viewing point for exhibition purposes, I would choose to model with my viewers being on this side of the layout and the layout running from right to left. The three rails that sit in the middle of the track are designed really for high-speed traffic. The center rail that can take traffic in both directions allows the ICE trains to pass through the station without stopping in either direction. The third rail is for local traffic to come in and allows for a high-speed train to pass through the station with a local train in location. Next we move across to where our current train is located. Again, we're down to two rails here, so this is only for local traffic. And then there's a third platform which is much shorter and covers a variety of things. And then you'll notice there are two rails here, which if I now rotate the camera around, you'll see that there is a group of sidings that are available for a variety of different traffic. And I think this could lend itself to some really good modelling prospects. Further on in the distance, you'll see a road bridge which crosses over the track at an angle. And this is quite an unusual bridge, and I think would make a very good sort of demarcation point for the end of the layout. So I would plan to build the layout with this particular bridge at the right-hand end of the track. Now let's move to the other end of the layout to see what I think could be a very interesting feature. And now you can see a girder bridge which crosses over a small river. And this was built in the 1920s. It's starting to show its age a bit now. But I think this would make a great feature for modelling. And you can see that it consists of a whole bunch of girders put together in an A-frame. This bridge is actually, according to Wikipedia, is 78 meters long. So it's a substantial structure, and I think would make quite a useful addition to the layout. The problem is that this structure is actually 1.5 kilometers from the railway station. If you were doing this to scale, then you're going to end up with an absolutely enormous model, because modelling in N scale, even at 1.5 kilometers, is going to be quite a substantial undertaking. What I would do in this particular case is I would foreshorten the track to actually allow you to bring the bridge closer to the station. I mentioned earlier that the bridge at the right-hand edge of the station would make a good entry point to the layout. The A-frame girder bridge, I think, would make an equally good entry point on the left-hand side of the layout at some suitable distance that you would have to set. But we'll get to that later on. Coming up in future episodes, I'll cover measurements, track plans, and how to take a detailed look at a location. Check out some of my other videos. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you later.